Welcome everyone. Jagat friends from around the world. We are very, very happy to be here today once again in our day, in our 8th day of this 12 days of Jagat campaign on nonviolent economy. Today we are very pleased to have also a lot of good participants and speakers who will be sharing later on the importance of water and revaluing water as life, as an element of life. And that's a very important discussion if we want to understand in a deeper way how we need to also resignify a lot of things in our ways of life and relate with nature. If we want to transit to a nonviolent economy. And we will start, as every day, sharing some of the most relevant updates from the different actions across the world. But first, we will introduce the panel with a short musical video clip. Thank you very much, and stay with us.
Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. For peace, let the souls come alive. For justice and joy come alive. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Be the call of love, let love be in all. Victory to the world and no one to be lost. Be the call of love, let love be in all. Victory to the world and no one to be lost. Let color be no bar, let caste be no bar. Let love be the need of power. Let the love for all be the bar. Winds of peace shall blow around. We shall all now sing along. Let the sun of love be strong. Let the night of hate be gone. Let the night of hate be gone. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. For peace, let the souls come alive. For justice and joy, come alive. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat.
Thank you, Jay, for these amazing songs. And welcome again, everyone. Today, as you know, as every day, I mean, for 9 days now, our Indian friends from different districts across the country have been walking, um, joining different communities, collecting different stories of people and how they are living peace and just in how what are their main issues. Um, and now we will listen from our friend John Maye brief updates of the last days of marches. And over to you, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Jai Jagat friends. So every day we highlight some 10 or 12 yatras out of the 100 yatras that have been happening, because showcasing 100 yatras might get a little overwhelming both for us and the people seeing it. So here's a quick summary of the yatras from our side. We hope you enjoy. So in the Balangir district of Odisha, the foot march reached Balikhamar village. There's a constant alert of cyclones and the foot marches are still moving forward. Here, the marchers organized a small meeting with villagers to talk about how this recurring natural calamity of, cyclones upon cyclones has been affecting their livelihood. In Chhattisgarh, there's a district called Dhamtari. Here, the foot march started from Kukrel village, and there were various meetings organized with these indigenous communities that live there to discuss their land and habitat rights. And in the Dhar district of Madhya Pradesh, the foot march just reached Jal Muhaja village, and here a small meeting was organized, and they were welcomed by the local political leaders and by senior journalists, and they kind of expressed their solidarity and support for the march. Things got very interesting in Kalahandi, where Rajaji reached, and the foot march reached Suknabhata, and the march started at Rajgopal Nagar. And here there were a lot of very interesting meetings talking about land rights and about water impacting the local economy, how the livelihoods of people kind of revolve around water here. Now again in Chhattisgarh, in the Korea district, the march reached Girani village. Here there were two meetings, one held at Potajorki and one in Girani. The main focus of both the meetings was to strengthen the local economy and the indigenous community that way. It was a huge march. There were I think there were around 250 odd participants that participated in this one. Then in Madhya Pradesh again, in Mahasamund district, the foot march reached Kasakheda village. In Kasakheda, there was a small meeting that was organized, and here there was a huge discussion about fighting against alcohol, because that's one of the big causes of uh, both unemployment, because people get addicted and so on and on. And there was another discussion that was done about climate change, and the village head gave us a really lovely welcome here. In Sivni district in Madhya Pradesh again, there was a huge Mahapanchayat, and the footmarch reached uh, Bhanagi village. Here, Sri Yogendra ji, who is a member of the Legislative Assembly, was there to welcome the march. The Yatris also handed him a memorandum of pending cases of forest land and of housing. Now moving on to Shivpuri district in Madhya Pradesh, the footmarch reached Faroda village. Here, this is a tribal village, a lot of tribal people live here. And the marchers discussed land issues that the indigenous community of the village were facing. In this foot march, around 50 people are constantly walking. They've been walking for, since the beginning and are still walking. And to wrap up the day, we'll go to Siddipet in Telangana, where the foot march reached, Siddipet district. Here they met a women group, and they talked about a lot of issues that the women were working on. We were received by the volunteers of the National Youth Project. So it was a lovely experience, and this is how day 9 of the march was concluded. Now we are heading towards the last 3-4 days and a huge finish. So Jai Jagat everyone, see you again soon.
Wonderful closure, Jay, of this ninth day of these marches in India. Thank you very much. Also, as part of these 12 days, the Asian NGO Coalition for Agrarian Reform and Rural Development have been organizing a series of webinars on different themes and subjects related to peace, to land, to new ways of economy. And today we will hear from our friend Garibay some of the highlights of today's webinar on harnessing the youth's involvement in agriculture.
So because time limitation, so I will read the paper that I have prepared. Please Bang John to yeah. Okay. The aging farming population and the role of the youth in agriculture and food security, the Indonesian context. Along the way, decreasing or vanishing of the role of farmers cooperative, whatever the cooperative in the past was showing worse performance, and some farmers organization, farming or agricultural sector is left or abandoned by young people, as well as technological introduction in rural Java. It was started around 1970s in Java, also presenting a little bit disorder in social network and cooperation among rural people. It gives rise that in agriculture, there is no more occupation. So women and young people migrate outside village and expect to do either personal or collective work in return for a wage. Therefore, today, those who still stays in the rural area is aging people, or those who are 50 years old or maybe above them. That youth to help farmers of campaign and market the product by online system. We believe by having such an experience, there will be youth or young people stand for and up to the farmers as a moral and academic commitment to save Indonesia farming against to capitalist-based corporate assault.
Of ICT and e-business, and lack of youth-led organization in grassroots farming communities. So basically, the youth of Bangladesh are not counting this profession as a dignified profession. So if we say that the son of a farmer, they don't be very they don't want to say that they are the son of farmer, and they have the lack of encouragement in engaging as a farmer to their family.
Yeah. Yes, okay. So I'll proceed right ahead. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sayla. You can call me Tat for short. From Cagayan de Oro City, from the beautiful island of Mindanao, from the Philippines. I'm most honored to be one of the young people given the opportunity to share my perspectives on youth's involvement in agriculture, particularly in the Philippines. And I think that before we try to, as we try to explore trying to involve the youth in agriculture and food security, it would really be best to try to get to know these young people, this generation. What are their issues? What are they currently doing? What are their current experiences on the ground? So that's what I will attempt to share to everyone this afternoon, and I hope we could get
Thank you, Gary. Well, there we had the webinar in Angkok. If you want also to watch it completely, you can go to our Facebook page, where you will find all the different webinars. And of course, a very important subject that has come out from even our panels, the involvement of youth, and how this is a challenge for all the movements, and to do also an intergenerational way of transit to another culture, another economy. Okay, well, moving to North America. As part of also this campaign, the Mahatma Gandhi Canadian Foundation for World Peace has organized a North American Relay Fast, in which different people in Canada have been taking up this action of fasting for peace and justice, and sharing some message of why it is important to do this such a commitment, an individual commitment, as a way also of a peace action. And yesterday, Karen Sira, she is the founding member of the board of the International Gandhian Institute for Nonviolence and Peace in Canada. She decided to take up this action, and she shared with us a small message that I would like to share with you. She said, Last year, my then 5-year-old and I had a meaningful discussion to uncover what would be the most significant for us to reflect upon together. We talk about how people don't have enough to eat, to stay healthy, don't have homes to keep them warm, and live lives without the opportunity to learn. While they were all powerful discussions, her remark at the end of one of these early discussions sat heavily with me. But I have you, mommy. So I decided to broach the issue with her and uncover what she meant. Her reflections were about the time we spent together, the memories we make, and the laughter we share. She talked about how she loves when I drop her off at school, when we tease the dog, when he do puzzles. These are the things that could easily be taken for granted. I'm not able to do these things because of my unique commitment. There is privilege embedded in the ability to create these moments. COVID has highlighted the inability of our current systems to support family and women specifically. There is substantial evidence that the progress made in women's advancements across all industries over the last 30, 40 years will be eroded because of this inability, unless we do something to proactively address it. So Ria and I have decided to fast to reflect on the ways our current structures can better support families overall, however those families are defined and women specifically. Obviously, these are my words and not hers. Hers were how can we help mommies and daddies? Yikes, despite our best efforts, there is definitely some heteronormativity being built. I commit to reflecting on how to act and that as well. Many thanks, Karen, for sharing this, and most of all, many thanks also for inviting your daughter. I think that's wonderful. We haven't seen that, and that's also, I think, part of this acting for peace is not only for us, but how we can always keep bringing more people to our actions and to our reflection. And it's wonderful also to always consider children, and somehow we will be talking this theme also later with our panel. And then yesterday also in Mexico, there were a lot of, well, I mean, 3 different webinars and dialogues, online dialogues with a very important also theme to highlight in this nonviolent economy that we want to transit to. And this is about the indigenous peoples, how they are defending territories to take care of life, and how also language and native language, people trying to keep them alive. It's also a very important way to keep some other practices to relate with nature. And most of all, was very interesting to hear from some young indigenous land defenders, territory defenders, who are still talking their languages. And this is a very important way to keep their community together and with those practices. So we will hear a little piece of one of the webinars, because I mean there are 3 and we cannot understand the language maybe, but let's hear a piece of one of the leaders of the Wiraricas, also called Huicholes, in the north part of the country. And he's also giving a message to Jagat. So there we had our radical leader. And also as the same with the ANGOX webinars, if you want to, I mean, for the Spanish speakers, if you are interested to listen these webinars, you can find them all in the Facebook page. Then before we go to our panel discussions, I will love to introduce you to two wonderful friends from Canada. We have with us Ramshi Gupta, right, who born in Varanasi, India. And I mean, we're very, very happy to have you here with us, Rishma. She's a life member of the Mahatma Gandhi Peace Council of Ottawa in Canada, and I mean, she had a great career in information technology and business management, but also she's an artist, she's a poet, and she's a singer. And we would love to hear some of your initiatives and your experiences and your peace work in Ottawa. Welcome, Rashmi. You are mute. Could you open your mic?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Monica. Thank you very much, Reva, for inviting me here. I'm really overwhelmed with all the wonderful work which Jagat is doing and other people around in the world to really bring unity, peace, and solve these horrible problems which we are all facing in the world today. My name is Rashmi Gupta, and I'm the president of Mahatma Gandhi Peace Council. Currently, I'm the president there. So I'll give you a very brief background of Peace Council. We are not really in any way able to do any active kind of part at the ground level. However, because our mandate of the Peace Council is slightly different, but the focus is mainly to promote Gandhian thoughts and principles, educating the Ottawa and surrounding communities in principles and practices of non-violence, harmony, and peace. And the Peace Council was founded in the year 2006 at the initiative of a group of citizens of Ottawa. And it's a non-profit charitable organization. And these have been the main goals of the council. And through our new generation leaders, we are also working towards creating multicultural leaderships and to foster leaders that emulate Gandhi's style of leadership. I'll talk about the new generation leader a little later. Let me give a quick overview of what the council has been doing in the past also. The Peace Council has partnered with Carter University to assist in fulfilling its objectives. It has endowed the annual Mahatma Gandhi lecture in the College of the Humanities of Carleton University. A record of the detailed activities over the years does exist on the website gandhiji.ca, where some of the very significant events have been, like, for example, in 2010, Gandhi King Aikeda, a legacy of peace exhibition in collaboration with Soka Gakkai International, SGI, which is the abbreviation. It was a very successful event. And then in 2011, for example, Gandhi Memorial Day was observed on Sunday, 30th January, in collaboration with Carleton University, with screening of the documentary film Frontier Gandhi, Obstacle of Peace. Ms. Terry McLuhan, producer of the film, was present to share her experience in the making of the film. We have tried to bring the film. It was a very successful program, such a program here, because people were very much interested to to come and see that again, and a lot of people who missed at that time, but we haven't been able to successful, to do that. Still working on that. Legacy of non-violence and exhibition of Gandhi King Mandela paintings by Suraj Sadan, a well-known artist from Montreal. Then we started offering a 4th-year level credit course at Carleton on Gandhi across cultures in the College of Humanities from winter 2011 term. And that course is still ongoing in the university. In 2012, the endowed lecture was established in the College of Humanities at Carleton University. So, there were funds which were collected, and the matching fund was really given by the university with which this endowed lecture was established in the College of Humanities. So in June 2016, we participated in a peace march to protect the sacred Shaudir site led by the grandmothers of Pequot Kanagan, which is the Golden Lake First Nation. So then in 2018, in collaboration with the University of Ottawa by Professor Taiki Alfred, University of Victoria, on reflections on Gandhi, the great law of peace and indigenous resurgence, was a very successful lecture where a lot of people they attended and very much with great interest. So, so we have been doing this now. There's another, which is annual lecture, which is coming up. Like I would like to say again that one of the mandate of the Peace Council is to have at least one actual annual lecture. We try to do it on October 2nd to celebrate in celebration of Mahatma Gandhi, along with the other cultural activities, which we haven't been able to do for the last 2 years because of the COVID. And this year we are going to really again have this lecture, which is on 2nd of October, on the topic Mahatma Gandhi and Islamic non-violence. The speakers would be, the panelists will be Dr. Muhammad Ali Ninowi, Dr. Jeffrey Helverson, and Mr. Faisal Khan. So the whole focus of this lecture would be to really talk about the Muslim leaders in the past, also who have greatly followed Gandhian teachings and to bring peace and unity, and what are the current leaders trying to do towards that, because this is a hot concern which people have been talking about and expressing. So this we thought that it's a great timing for that. So essentially, you know, the thing is that the peace councils, because of the relationship with the endowment and very strong connection and not only collaboration with the university, there are certain limitations which we, in terms of like, we cannot really take active part in any of the action-oriented, you know, kind of activities. And we have to always justify for that. But from the main focus has to be on the education side. So what we did is that 2 years ago, we took an initiative to create this arm, and it's which is we call as new generation leaders, and essentially, as I said, that to create these multicultural leaders, this particular initiative has been led by the Vice President of Mahatma Gandhi Peace Council, Mr. Rahil Khan, and the former board member, Petula Pinto. let me say a few words about what the focus of, so essentially, let me see. Yeah, so where? So this year, actually, the New Generation Leader Group, what they did is they have they took the initiative to really do this fundraising event. I'm just trying to look at my notes. I am a little bit here lost. Yeah. Give me a second, just bear with me because, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so Art for India, which was the auction of the paintings, and they tried to bring those local artists who donated their paintings, and they were able to raise $2,600 for the COVID relief work of frontline women in India under the Ekta Parishad network. So that was one of the main initiative, which is what they do. And the focus of New Generation Leaders has been to really do online. They have started online seminars, which to talk about the problems and issues of these people, teach them about non-violent ways of communication with each other, and difficult and how to cope with the difficult situation. So essentially, it's a kind of they try to do the team building exercises online, and because of Zoom, they have not been able to meet in person. And they're taking it's like to build a trust among each other. And what they are doing is that in collaboration with the initiatives of Change Canada. So. Also they are also trying to come up with the online learning series where people can also express their emotions among each other and question how to solve those problems. So these are the few things which is what essentially the New Generation Leaders and Mahatma Gandhi Peace Council is doing.
Yes. No, beautiful. All these initiatives, Rashmi. I mean, the art auction was a very important action also for Jagat, and we were very, grateful and amazed for all the work all you did there. And talking about you, as we were talking before, I think this New Generation Leaders program, it's also very important how we can bring more people, young people, to these subjects and to these learnings. Because also, we are also doing a lot of things, but maybe don't know much about Gandhi or other things that is important to learn. So Thank you very much, Rashmi. I think we can maybe later, if there is more time, we can go back to this. And we are very, very thankful with you for sharing all of this.
Thank you, Monica. And of course, I would say that anytime we can connect with each other on if we want to bring more youth together, because with the Zoom, people are getting used to this thing. One of the advantage also, while there are disadvantages, one of the advantage is that people have learned to talk online also with each other. So this would be possible. Don't have to really physically go from one place. So great, right.
Exactly.
Thanks very much for
thank you.
Giving me some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we also are very happy to invite and welcome Rama Singh who is a founding chair of the public endowed annual Mahatma Gandhi Lectures on Nonviolence at McMaster University. He's also a founder of Gandhi Peace Festival in the city of Hamilton and a co-founder of Mahila Shanti Sena, which is the Women's Peace Brigade International in India. I mean, among a lot of other things, of course, but I think we can welcome you, Rama, with this. And also we would love to hear what some of these initiatives you are working on, the festival, I mean, the Mahila Shanti Sena. Yeah, we're happy to hear you. Over to you, Rama.
Thank you, Monica. And hello, Rasmi, and hello, Reva, and hello, everybody else. It's a wonderful program, connecting with pictures and people around the world. But also, I was very impressed with, hearing Rasmi you about the program in Ottawa. I'm looking forward to, listening and attending the talk. It's very relevant and timely topic. I'm here, I guess, as a founding member of Gandhi Peace Festival, which is in the 29th year. Dr. Sri Gopal Mohanty is the president, but he is not here due to health reasons, so I'm representing. Gandhi Peace Festival is a Gandhi Peace Festival Committee, which runs it, is a part of India-Canada Society, which is a cultural organization. So Gandhi Peace Festival Committee is not yet a charitable or a registered organization. Really, we haven't done it. But Peace Festival over time has developed a link and co-sponsorship with the city of Hamilton, McMaster University, and a health research foundation at McMaster. And we get some funding from these organizations. But in a more significant way, Gandhi Peace Festival is informally linked to annual Gandhi lectureship, which was endowed in 1996 at McMaster University at the Center for Peace Study. So lectureship is run by the university, and the Gandhi Peace Festival is organized by the community. But both organizations work together such that most lectures take place last week of September or first week of October. So the visitors sometimes can speak up at the Gandhi Peace Festival. Every year, Gandhi Peace Festival chooses a theme, and based on what's happening in the nation and worldwide, and our Gandhi lectures and also the speaker at the Peace Festival may speak on that theme. So this year, the theme is Truth and Reconciliation with Indigenous Communities. Truth and Reconciliation with Indigenous Communities. Well, it's not surprising that we chose this topic. In the past, we have had a deep and long relationship with the indigenous community. We have the Six Nations next door to us, and we have involved their seniors, their children, and their groups in the Peace Festival many years. But this year we decided to focus on. So this year the Gandhi lectures are going to be given tonight, I think, from 7 to 8:30 Hamilton, Toronto time. The two speakers are from McMaster University Indigenous Study Program. And so we did not want to bring somebody from outside. And one of those two speakers, Dr. Don Martin Hill, will also speak on October 2nd by Zoom as a part of Peace Festival. So Peace Festival is actually virtual, hybrid. The talk will be in the morning, 11 o'clock, virtual by Zoom. And in the afternoon, a small group of people will gather at the Gandhi statue at the City Hall to offer flowers and show our support to indigenous communities. So Gandhi Peace Festival involves in activism because we have done, based on what we can do, involve locally with other groups and support. Sometimes support activities in India. Like this year, we did help capacitates to raise funds for women in India for COVID relief. And also we raised ourselves about $20,000 to send it to Mahila Shanti Sena for COVID relief. So such activities take place, but over the years, we are very much aware of the need of linking with other organizations, as Reva has said and as Rashmi is saying, because you notice that Gandhi is being rediscovered, so to speak, outside India, as he is in some ways being forgotten in India. So there is a need to connect and talk. And in 2019, at the 150th anniversary of Gandhi's birthday, we started a program called Conversation on Life Enhancing Values. Conversation on Life Enhancing Values. And the focus of that is that we all enjoy our own culture, but we have to build civilization for tomorrow. And for building civilization for tomorrow, we cannot only depend upon our own culture and cultural values, which are time-bound, region-bound, religious-bound. Those are good. We survive by culture, but we also have to be aware that sometimes cultural values conflict with what the world needs today and tomorrow. So the idea of conversation and what we are having today really is conversation, part of it. But my long-term aim is somehow to formalize it, that during this week, there is a national awareness and national conversation, because as we see, September 20th is International Day of Peace. October 2nd is International Day of Nonviolence. And between that, now we have sandwiched the 5 days of remembering no children should be forgotten. And the 30th of September is the International Day of Truth and Reconciliation. So these are very important days to make us aware and engage in conversation. So I'm very happy what's happening here today and what will be happening in Ottawa on October 2nd and Hamilton and around the world. And I'm very proud to be part of it, and having known Rashmi and their work for a long time, I have participated and gone to Edmonton and talked. So I'm very pleased to be part of it. I guess I will really stop there. Only thing mentioned is that every year we do produce a Gandhi booklet, and this year is on the theme, and Dr. Khurshid Ahmed, who is the editor, he has done a wonderful job of collecting articles. People will say everything is on the internet, but there is too much on internet, relevant and irrelevant. So he has collected articles as if you are for a high school student who want to know at one place, as everything about indigenous people. And we will be distributing that PDF, and I'm sure you will be getting a copy. So please pass it on, because the talk on Gandhi this evening and on Saturday on Peace Festival is being heard by students in high school in Hamilton. So I want to thank you all, and I wish you good luck with what's going on here, and I'll be always there to support you. So thank you, Monica.
No, thank you, Rama Singh. It's been a pleasure to hear from you, to get to know you. And also, of course, we will keep an eye on the festival, and we will be sharing also all these activities. And I'm sure we will collaborate in the future. And this is this Jai Jagat campaign. This is just the first year of a 10 years campaign. So we are just like giving the first steps And this is very helpful too, to hear from others' experiences. Thank you very much, Rama. Well, friends, we are going to a small break, musical break, before continue with our panel discussion on the importance of water, and linking also the indigenous practices around water, and how we need to revalue water as an element of life, as part of us. So let's go to listen the musical video clip, which introduce also the daily theme.
Hi everyone, my name is Shauna, and I've been part of a small group of Gandhian activists and organizations in Canada and the United States with the nonprofit organization that I co-founded called Dharma in Motion. So we've been helping to raise funds since April 2021 during this really devastating wave of the COVID pandemic, to help people on the front lines to distribute items for COVID relief. And I'm very thankful to the women of Ekta Parishad who have been on the front lines distributing items, and to the Jagat movement. I wanted to share this dance that I made during the pandemic as a way of thinking about our interconnectivity, and also to think about ways that we can create positive change through small acts that value each other and our ecosystem. It's a dance that I made about the ocean called Ocean Prayer, and it highlights plastics in the oceans that are affecting mammals, fish, or anything that depends on the ocean for food. It takes place at the beach in San Clemente near Los Angeles, California, where I'm based, and the dancers and I had to be safe, so we worked on Zoom to create the movement, and then gathered safely outside at the beach to finalize the movement. And an artist, Donna Gilmore, also created the set out of secondhand materials we found, and the items that you see in the background that are in front of the ocean are symbolic of the garbage that we throw into the ocean that is messing up our ecosystem. So I wanted to share a positive message, a message of hope, and also a way of contemplating or meditating on the ways that we are all interconnected. And thank you.
Thank you, friends. Handing back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been wonderful. I mean, we loved this performance so much, and we're happy to have also the artist behind the performance here with us. But before, let me introduce to you a very close Jagat friend. You all know already, I'm sure. She's Riva Yoshi, a peace educator from Canada. I mean, she comes from a Gandhian family. Her mother, Karuna Joshi, and Krishan Chandra Joshi, her father, they both founded the Mahatma Gandhi Canadian Foundation for World Peace in 1988. And I mean, Riva has been active in the organization since the very beginning. And now she serves as co-chair of the board of directors of this organization. We are very, very pleased to have you here with us, Riva, to moderate this very important panel on on water and how to link also the indigenous practices with education, and so we can also keep these learnings from the indigenous communities in terms of how to relate with nature, and in this particular case with the water. So welcome, Riva, over to you.
Thank you so much, Monica. I want to begin with a land acknowledgement. I'm here today speaking to you from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Edmonton's located within Treaty 6 territory and within the Métis homelands and Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4. I acknowledge this land as the traditional territories of many First Nations, including the Cree, Dene, Nakota Sioux, Anishinaabe, and Blackfoot. I make this land acknowledgement to signify my gratitude to the original peoples of the land for their constant care of this land, excuse me, this land that my family and I are privileged to share and call home. I want to, before we start with the panel, just thank my friends and colleagues, Rashmi and Rama, for being with us today and for sharing some of the work that they're doing. It always warms my heart to hear about the work of both of those very important groups of people, the organizations in Ottawa and in Hamilton. So thank you again very much, Rashmi and Rama, for being here. So yesterday on our webcast, we talked about water, and we talked mostly in terms of utilitarian purposes of water, and how important it is for us to have clean water for people to drink and to bathe in, and to be able to water our plants, to grow our plants. This is all very important. But today we're connecting a little bit differently to water, or we hope to connect a little bit differently to water. We've brought together a panel of people who are all educators in different ways, because we're concerned with the idea of the kind of relationship we have with water. We talk often about our relationship to Mother Earth, but we don't talk about the relationship that we have with water in the same kind of way. And I think it's important that we particularly look to guidance from Indigenous peoples around the world for reimagining our relationship, for not seeing it only in terms of what we can get out of water or how we use water, but really how to have a positive relationship with water. And so to set the stage for our panel, there's a children's book called We Are Water Protectors that I want to share with you. Gary, hopefully you've got the video set up. Yeah. And I will flip it to you so that we can share this. And I think it speaks for itself, and then I'll come back and we'll start with the panel. Thanks.
Hello friends, welcome to another reading time with Ring Around Renina. Our book today is called We Are Water Protectors, written by Carol Lindstrom, illustrated by Michaela Goad. Michaela Goad is my favorite Indigenous artist, especially because she illustrates children's books. In fact, I'm collecting all her books because she is just amazing. We Are Water Protectors, written by Carol Lindstrom, illustrated by Michaela Goad. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body as it nourishes us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land, spoil the water, poison plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. And of course, this snake is a metaphor of the Dakota Access Pipeline that happened in 2016. Unfortunately, it's still pushed through. So it's still poisoning the water right now. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together. Over here, there's a beaver. I see some fish, turtle. To stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. It will not be easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The winged ones, the crawling ones, the four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, lakes, the earth. We are all related. Such a beautiful illustration over here. And look at all the animals. Tears like waterfalls stream down, tracks down my face. Look, they're crying. Tracks down my people's faces. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. The end. And over here, there's a glossary of the terms, and this is more information about what happened to the Dakota Access Pipeline. And here's a note from Michaela Goad, the illustrator. And it's cool too. You have a pledge over here, and then you can read this to your children or to your students, and then you can write your classroom name and then the date, because you pledge to protect the water. The end.
Thank you for sharing that for us, Gary. You can see how important water is. And as I said, this sets the stage for our panel. We have 4 people on the panel today, and we're going to begin with Joan Smith, but I'm going to ask Catherine if she would please introduce Joan.
Thank you so much, Riva, and thank you to everyone who's here today. This is really a wonderful gathering, and Joan and I are both on unceded Mi'kmaq ancestral territory, and she may say a little bit more about that. But I do want to introduce Joan, and I introduce her as a drummer, as a grandmother, as a tireless activist, a member of Voice of Women for Peace, but most of all, as a beloved friend. I appreciate her so much because we need to all walk together, and Joan and I walk together, so I'm grateful for this. And I think at the beginning, the song that Gandhi played about Jai Jagat becoming alive, and how it comes alive, I think it is in her steps that the peace and justice does come alive. And she reminds me of the way of peace is the way of nonviolence over and over again. So I thank you for that as well, Joan. And we've done many actions together. And I think that I want to acknowledge that she has introduced me to the Grassroots grandmothers here in Nova Scotia and their tireless work against environmental racism and to bring ceremony to us, to all of us, and to acknowledge the water. And I think today she's going to tell us a little bit about the water walk itself. I also want to just acknowledge that she's been gracious enough to come in at the last moment because there was one of the Grassroots grandmothers was going to be able to be here, but there was a medical issue that came up. And she's also dealing with a little bit of bronchitis. So I just want to say that she may be leaving after she does her contribution. And I think we can give her that space. And Joan, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about the water walk and your experience of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Will Allen. My name is Joan Little Turtle Woman, and my ancestry comes from the Mi'kmaq people, which are part of the East Coast. And right now we are on what we call Mi'kma'ki, which is unceded ancestral territory. And that word unceded is often thrown in there, but people don't realize what that means. So I want to just expand a little bit. One of my mentors, Doreen Bernard, who was one of the Grassroots grandmothers, is we always need to explain that. Unceded mean this land has never been given up. It's never been lost, sold, found, traded, or any other way. Unceded means, and we have what we call peace and friendship treaties here in Mi'kma'ki, which is all along the eastern coast into parts of Newfoundland, PEI, New Brunswick, and into Quebec, Gaspé, and into Maine, that this land has been offered as a sharing with other peoples, along with the Aboriginal peoples, the original Mi'kmaq, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, Penobscot, and the part of the Wabanaki group. And so this land is shared for you all to use, but use in a way that protects Mother Earth. And so one of the big things about the water walk that we do, it's an education. It's been growing steadily over 15 years or so. The big water walk first started along with in Nova Scotia. Doreen has taken her cue from grandmother Josephine Mandamin, who's in the spirit world now, who just this little old indigenous Ojibwa lady, Anishinaabe, who started walking around the Grand Lakes by herself with a copper pot. Just awareness, bringing awareness to the pollution of the water. And as it's been said before, water, we call someone, has a spirit. Someone has a memory. So when we do the water walk every year, we invite others. The water walk is initiated by an Indigenous grandmother or an elder, but anyone is able to join in the water walk. And so we walk with our copper pail because copper neutralizes water. And we offer, as we go along, anytime we're walking along a route, we have a route that we do in Nova Scotia. Anytime we pass a stream or cross a lake and over a bridge, we offer tobacco, which is our thank you medicine. And so we're blessing the water as we go along. We also have smudged ourselves. So we're blessing ourselves because we're 75% water. So we need to remember water is life. I've heard the videos and that, and the importance of food, agriculture, all of that, the air. First comes water. If we don't have water, we don't have agriculture. If we don't have water, we don't have oxygen in the air to breathe. Because we don't have the trees to give off our oxygen. Water is life. And we say 3 of the things that we repeat over and over: Samgwan, Gesalu, Samgwan, Walalan, Samgwan, Kepmidalamu. Means water, I love you. Water, I thank you. Water, I respect you. And so this is very important that we educate people. So our water walk is every spring, and it's usually over a week. And even with COVID practices, we've been able to keep it going. We just switch off with people who are in certain areas. So like we've had to do this spring. So many of us walk it one day, and then so many of us walk it another day, and so many walk it another day. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 20 people or 50 people. Water knows. Water can hear us. Water has that spirit. And so we do this not just for Indigenous people. That's the other thing, is that people don't realize, well, it seems like more and more are coming to realize, water's life. And if we have no water, it doesn't matter if you're Indigenous or black, white, yellow, red, whatever, you can't live. We need water. Everyone needs water. We also have a term in Mi'kmaq. We say, Umsignogama. It means all my relations. And that reminds us, as the 2-legged, that we are also connected to everything on Mother Earth. We're connected to the birds and the trees and the plants and the fish. And we all need water. And as the 2-legged, it was our job when we came on Mother Earth, it was our job to protect not only the land, but the water, because water is part of the land, right? So, Catherine, I don't know if there's anything else you want me to say. If I've said what you need, or if there's anything else you want me to add.
Thank you, Joan. I'm just going to pass it to Riva, and she'll take it from there. Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Joan, that was absolutely beautiful, and I'm so happy to finally meet you. Catherine speaks so highly of you, and I completely understand why. And I also know that you're not feeling well, so if you need to log off now, we completely understand. But thank you so much for taking some time today to share with us.
Oh, well, Alan, thank you. I might stay on. I'll just unmute and mute myself and see how long I can last.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Love you too. So I think we're going to go next to Catherine then. And Catherine is, this is Catherine Winkler. I should introduce her properly. She has become a dear friend of mine and somebody I look up to because of who she is and how she is in the world. She was fasting earlier in the 12 days, and I said in my note when I posted her fasting flyer that she is who I wish I could be. She is an educator, she's an activist, and she's an artist, and she creatively and lovingly engages in all aspects of peace work in the world. And so I thank you, Catherine, for being here today, and I invite you to contribute your thoughts on water and our relationship to it, and how we might learn and teach about a different relationship with water. Thank you, Catherine.
To be honest, Riva, I'm kind of speechless after that, those accolades. Thank you. I think that what we do, and those kind words I want to just take them and throw them into the stream in a gentle way to all of us on this call, because together our relationships, and this is one thing that Joan and Doreen are sharing in their teachings about water, together and in our relationships is where our greatest hope and love lie. And as a grandmother, I probably share this feeling of, or the conditions that are in the air of being awake at night wondering, what can I do? And the answer to what can I do is what can we do? So the water walk for me personally has been one of these experiences where I can connect to teachings that I know the world needs and be part of them in ceremony and in a new way, in a new way to reach hope for all of us. Water, as you know, is a huge area of injustice. Environmental racism is a problem in throughout North America, throughout the world. I'm just thinking of the coke plants in the area and in India, and stopping on the train during Jagat, and the activists that protested the water being siphoned from the earth to add something to it and be sold to people who couldn't really afford that, and put more money into the insatiable corporate pockets. But together we can change those kind of views. I'm just going to tell you one little story about the water walk, because the book that you shared sparked that thought. And it's also a thought that's echoed in the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls report, that as there are stories about women and the connection of women to water. And because we do carry water inside that grows new life. And our tears, as they fall to the earth, are also an expression of a tribute to the earth. And during the water ceremony that started the water walk that I was able to participate in, during the ceremony that Doreen did, it occurred to me that my granddaughter, who was on the way, is part of this ongoing water journey. And that feeling of continuity and the urgency of protecting that life still overwhelms me. And Lottie is now on the earth, enjoying water where she lives in Ontario, swims like a fish. She would have loved the video of dancing on the ocean, and I look forward to dancing with her on this ocean. And I did get her that book. So that's my little part of the reflections on water. Thank you for doing this, Riva.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That was beautiful. We're going to go next to Shauna Kummer, and you've already sort of met her as the choreographer for the Ocean Prayer, the dance that we saw earlier. If Catherine is someone that I am aspiring to be, I think Shauna is someone that I am so honored to have watched grow. 25 years ago, Shauna was one of my students, and even then she was a jewel. Now she shines so brightly in all that she does, as an educator, as an activist, as a dancer, as a choreographer, as a friend. And I turn now to Shauna and ask her to contribute her thoughts on water and our relationship to water. Shauna.
Oh, thank you, Reva. Yes, and I so appreciate your words and everybody's words here, and the opportunity to be part of this. I'm assuming you can hear me now. Yes, and so just want to make sure I'm not muted.
You're good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
So thank you. So I am also, honored to have been invited to participate on this panel, and I wanted to mention that I'm speaking currently from Tongva territory, Gabrielino land in Los Angeles area, and when I heard the topic of this, seminar, I was thinking what I want to do is listen, and so I realized that I also have things that I wanted to share, but I think that listening stance in relation to Indigenous perspectives on water is a very critical thing that I seek to embody. And I also wanted to reference a couple of stories. You guys seen possibly a video that just was up at the beginning of this session that I created as part of Global Water Dances, which started in 2011, which was already about a year after I had started working very, very closely with water. So in 2010, I had this huge rupture in my life, in the narrative of my life, where everything changed, and I knew that I needed to learn from water. I knew that I'm a choreographer, so that was what I started to work with. And I began working with Masaru Emoto's Hidden Messages of Water, that a lot of people have heard about this book or read it. And the exploration of water was very healing, very helpful for me. And I received a Canada Council grant that year and developed a piece on Salt Spring Island with people there. And it was about healing water. And when looking for the location of where that dance would be, because it was going to be outside, I was drawn to a particular location. And sometime after that, I met a wonderful elder named Florence James, who's Penulkut from that area. And she ultimately participated very closely with the dance and blessed the dance. And what I found out through that experience was that I was drawn to the very place where she had been raised by her grandfather, and there were healing properties in that water, and he taught her all about that area. So I was just thinking about that when Joan mentioned earlier that water speaks to us, and that we need to listen, that water is life, and that water can hear us, water knows, I think were some of the words that she used. And I really believe that. I also have to mention that song that was played during the video Yamaya, which was done by a close friend of mine. And that is another manifestation or indigenous belief of Yamaya, the who is water, who is a connection to water. So there are so many ways that we can find our way into this topic, and I believe that that water can inspire healing, change, flexibility, potential. There's so many aspects and ways to experience water. And so I think if we listen, if we approach water in this way with reverence, that is, a small act that can help to affect others, that can help create greater reverence for water in the world. And I love the message that Joan was talking about, the water walk, which I've never participated in. But since we did show the video, I also referenced this global water dances. So that's another thing that's happening around the world where that dance was a part of. And some of that choreography is participated in by people like in many, many different countries. And some of it was created by me as well. So the act of embodying some movement together in different places all over the world was something that is happening once a year. So I just think about all of these messages and ways that each of us here or others that we've mentioned are connecting with water, and the beautiful book that opened this discussion. And I feel honored and appreciative to be included. Thank you. I think I'll turn it back to Raven now.
Thank you so much, Shauna. Sorry. You were going to cover it for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. I thank you so much for those words. And I think we're starting to see the ideas build, the notion of the spirit of water as life, water as part of who we are, but also water as healing. And so as these ideas build, I'm going to ask Gary in a second to share a short message from our fourth panelist, who unfortunately couldn't be with us, but sent a recording. His name is Joe Cloutier, and Joe is also from Edmonton, where I am. He is an Indigenous educator who helped to found a school here in Edmonton almost 30 years ago. He works with mostly Aboriginal youth, urban Aboriginal youth. And he, in this video clip, he talks about water in a slightly different way. He connects water with a ceremony that happens on the prairies called the Sweat Lodge ceremony. And I think that's as much as I will say about it, because I think he talks a little bit more about it. So Gary, if you could share that video. Okay, recording.
When I think about water and indigenous practices and education, the thing that comes to mind to me, and I think obvious, is that the youth we work with at Inner City High School are kind of marginalized from the general society. They sometimes have low self-confidence. They sometimes don't have the healthiest of habits. But we in pre-pandemic times, we haven't been able to do it lately, but we go regularly to see an elder north of Edmonton. And I've been there myself, and the process is that they used to be a structure covered with buffalo skins, Now and buffalo skins and saplings inside to hold it in the dome shape. That's what I've seen anyway. There's an elder that kind of hosts the sweat and sits inside the structure, and there's a helper that heats rocks up outside and then brings the rocks into a center pit in the center of that structure. And that happens 4 times. There's 4 different rounds. And when they pull the rocks in, after they pull the rocks in, the rocks are red hot. So when you throw water on them, it causes a lot of steam and it gets really hot inside. And they close all of the flaps up and it's pitch dark. And I've been to ones where we just sit there, and others where there's singing and rattles, and people have kind of spiritual experiences at the same time. So I would say, but I don't go out with the youth. But when the youth go out in the morning, they are themselves. But when they come home, when they come back to the school, you can see that they are different people. It wears off after a while, but they're really impacted by it. They feel purified. They look purified. And it's just a really impactful experience on them. And we usually do that twice a month, but we unfortunately haven't been able to do that lately. I'll tell one other little experience that I've had with water, and this doesn't involve youth, but it involves me, but as probably you can see, I haven't been a youth for a while. But we used to work, not in school, but I have a drama program, and use drama to work with marginalized youth. And we travel all around Alberta to cultural celebrations. So we're quite a ways up north, doing kind of a performance and a workshop at a cultural celebration, and there was a sweat. And we took some youth into the sweat. And then I'll kind of close with this. And in that sweat, there's 4 rounds. And then in between each round, most people get out and kind of cool off and then come back in at different rounds. And there's a whole protocol around it that I won't go into. But this time I stayed in the lodge. And in the rounds, and it was just myself and the elder, and I never spoke. I just sat there. And the elder is just an older man, kind of wrinkled, sitting in. It wasn't completely dark because when the flaps are open, when people go out, but it was kind of it wasn't bright in there. He's sitting in the corner, and there's smoke coming, there's steam coming off the rocks, and he just starts talking, and he says, the smoke, it all goes up to the Creator. Doesn't matter, you're Presbyterian, you're Catholic, you're Anglican, whatever you are, the smoke goes to the Creator. And then he stopped and never said it anymore. So, that impacted me as well. So that is my story of Indigenous people and water.
Oops.
And that was Joe Cloutier. So I think what we've heard so far, as I said, this all builds, and I think in Joe's 2 vignettes that he offers, we can see that healing spirit of water that Joan and Shauna and Catherine all spoke to in different kinds of ways. And I think that the significance of that steam going to the Creator, that message going to the Creator. Water is one of the ways in which we communicate with, whether we call the Creator God or Allah or whatever we call that universal being. So as we talk about this, I think what's important for us is to think about how do we teach this? How do we bring these ideas in a different way? And we've seen a few different examples here. We can do it through stories with young children. We can do it through practices like the water walk. We can engage youth in those kinds of practices. We can do it through art. We can do it through dance. It's through embodying the spirit that is in the water, that the ocean prayer dance that Shauna choreographed is so powerful. The first time I saw it, it struck me. It really, really touched my heart because I could feel the water in a new way, in a different way. And I think these are all things that are available to us as educators to go forward. And when I say educators, I don't just mean formal educators. All of you who have children, all of you who have nieces and nephews, all of you who are who have brothers and sisters and cousins, and even those of you who are younger and are have parents and grandparents, all of us can be educators in taking these messages, these new messages of water. And particularly, I want to, I'm going to in a second invite Catherine and Shauna to come back in. I just want to give them a warning, but I really wanted to remind us of what Joan said, that as they do the water walk, they also are saying, water, I love you, water, I respect you, water, I thank you. And I think about the movement of hugging trees. And I think this is a way in which we can perhaps hug the water metaphorically by remembering to say to the water, I love you, I respect you, I thank you, and that this can help us to change our relationship, this relationship that in which we seem to believe that we somehow own the water, that it is there only for us to use, that and as long as we feel that way, we will exploit it. And I think we need to change that relationship. So with that, I invite Catherine for some last thoughts.
I think my last thoughts are for just gratitude that water can teach us these lessons and the many forms. So there's the lesson of the fog, of the ice, of the swift flowing and the stagnant, and how we move in each of those times when we're finding ourselves emotionally in those places. The water teaches us that change is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Shauna, any last thoughts?
Yes, and hello, hello, Catherine. Yes, so I was thinking about what Joan said, that we're all related and how important it is to remember that. And in talking about the water walk, how the women also smudge themselves because we are made up of so much water, and how important it is to empower ourselves to think about how powerful our minds are when we have positive thinking, or we're incorporating the water and the possibilities of water and the interconnection of all of us through water. I think it can make a very real impact on the world. So that's what I have.
Thank you so much, Shauna. And with that, I will turn it back to Monica. And thank you all for being here today.
Thank you very much, Riva and Shona, Catherine, Joan. Really, really thank you. It's been a pleasure to listen from you. And I mean, Joe Cloutier from the video. It's really, I mean, teaches a lot of things and brings a lot of things on the table. And, you know, it makes me also think that, of course, there are a lot of people, indigenous people in communities are trying to teach us this, by also their action, you know, the people who is defending the water. And I think also a challenge for us is how we could also learn to defend them, right? Because people is threatened, people is killed for defending this that we are trying to promote here and to defend as well. And there are a lot of work still to do there, I think. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's important to mention that. Thank you very much, really. I'm very happy to close the panel this way and to close also the broadcast for today. Just before, I want to invite you all to follow us tomorrow at the same time in the same channel, in the Facebook, the Jagat Facebook page. We will be talking about on also very important theme on the migrants and refugees. We will have with us some very important testimonies from Europe, but also from the US and Mexico border. So it will be a very also a rich discussion. And we are also getting close and getting very close to end this campaign. So come with us tomorrow to see what is happening for these last days. And thank you, guys. See you tomorrow, hopefully. And we will play a couple of musical video clips to say goodbye. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, friends. We'll now listen to one song, and then we'll see a dance performance by our friend Rosanna Tavares.
They call it a pipeline, but those on the front lines know that black snake was sent for us to grow, to shed the skin our ancestors pray, of wounds old and calloused, so that we may stay, so that we may unite, unity our tool. No weapons are found in this court of rule. Men becoming ki'ais, steadfast in their guard, protecting women's hearts as their song become roots, roots to cast out healing for all sentient beings, to honor sacred mother, heart forward we heal. The salmon will run, the Mauna will breathe, the rivers will flow. The rainbow is here and prophecy tells us all generations will hear.
First Nations and our people that been living here for thousands of years. Stand up. We've been fighting for our freedom since the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria. Stand up. Like Geronimo, Sitting Bull, Red Cloud, Crazy Horse, Leonard Peltier. Stand up. Now they poisoning the waters for our sons and our daughters, so we on the frontier. We won. One nation, one cause, one people, one tribe. Now it's us against the pipeline. Get on your feet for Standing Rock, and we'll show you how strong we could be when we unify.
To all my native people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. To all my tribal people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. To all my native people, to all the original people, to all my indigenous people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. Stand up, 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 stand up.
From the beginning we was winning this game on planet Earth. It's been spinning, we've been living and dying, but giving birth, the first of many nations, celebrating them days when all that got made came after what God made. These days we cater to these internet memes, internet streams. It seems them streams aren't clean. We need the whole story seen, where hassling before water has gasoline in it. Malcolm Malcolm X moment. Martin Luther King with a dream and war boning. Wounded knee plus Alcatraz, doggone it. This is for the rock, with prayers we stand on it.
Oh yeah, we playing on it, the earth we camp on it. In a sweat lodge singing our songs with grandfathers. Heat rocks all in the spot, we splash on them with a beatbox from my boy, we jam on it. Said a prayer for the black snake killers. Praying on the front lines, they you're the realest. Stand for your people, stand for your family. Stand with Standing Rock, stand for humanity. Hey.
It takes a group of people who actually care about, Mother Earth and life and water being sacred and the land being sacred to say, we stand up.
To all my native people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. To all my tribal people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. To all my native people, to all the original people, to all my indigenous people, recognize yourself, keep your head up. Stand up, 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 stand it up, stand it up.
Ne awapos again, Jigatala, Dagula, Dagwa, the Shutala, Dilup, the Lap, Ochitala.
Mini Wachoni, water is life.
Mini Wachoni.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
I stand with Standing Rock. I stand with Standing Rock.
I stand with Standing Rock. Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
I stand with Standing Rock. Stand up.
To all my native people, woke up the giant, we won't go quiet. To all my tribal people, don't mistake our peace as we stand defiant. To all my native people, it's the calm before the storm and I can hear it coming. To all my tribal people, I'm ready for the battle when we ain't running. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand it rock, stand it rock. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand it rock, stand it rock.
Standing rock, we're standing feet as history is on a sad repeat. Is it liberty or we just acting free as our land depletes from these hands of greed? See, fate is found, how we face the hounds. Take a vow for these sacred grounds. Make a sound that'll shake them out. Say aloud, what can save us now? What can save us now? Stand up.
Hi everybody, this is Rosanna Tavares, and the dance film that I created that you're about to see is titled Revolver, and that's a play on the Spanish word revolver, which means to mix up, but the second half of that word is volver, which means to return. So it's inspired by wanting to be in the mix again with the people that we love, wanting to be in the environments that we love to be in, and to be back in a place of community and back in a place of safety. So I hope you enjoy it. I filmed it predominantly, or all of it actually, in North Hollywood, California, which is where I live. It's the place that I've gotten very familiar with in the last 14 months during lockdown. And yeah, I wanted to create something that was uplifting and look towards the future with optimism. I hope you enjoy it.
esta milonga les canto. Y esta milonga les canto. Y si alguien me desafía, le juego dándole tanto. Soy un curioso de avería que el mundo fui recorriendo. Que el mundo fui recorriendo y al final vine diciendo: no hay tierra como la mía.
Thank you.